Hey team, how we going? Oi. Here we go, team. Who's going to be first? Hola, ¿cómo estás? Diddy Mail from the village. Crack a tinny. Scratch your tinnia. Emma C, how you going, darling? Nathan Island. Hard Yakka is early. Albino Nick, racist. Aplon Gamer, g'day buddy. Tony the Young Son. Hard Yakka wasn't going to miss this one. It's a special day today, team. It is a special day. Flubber Dubber and friends, good to see the members here. Almost time for promotion for Flubber Dubber. Give us a thumbs up. Just let us know that you can hear us okay. Lovely Lauren is here. Dusty Rhodes is here. G'day team. And a really interesting question we're going to cover for you today, Dusty too. Thanks mate. Timmy, Chloe, how you going? Declan, that's a good name. Sounds intelligent. Sounds Special Forces. Spartan Mouth. Aaron, g'day mate. Joshy Power. Action, Jackson. Megan, Wind Tour. Is that New Zealand? Welcome, my dear. I like that name. Jack. Good Australian name unless you're getting called because you're not a team player. It is a bloody special day, mate. Tony Sergo, how you going? Stoddy, I'm just heading out on a Stoddy mission. Be back soon. You better be home soon. ABF, Attack by Fire with Glenn Jones straight on top. Albino Nick. Like how thanks for your service. I want to join the Australian Army. I want you to join the Australian Army. But you know what? Take your time. Do it right. And thanking me for my service, I never said I was the best on ground, but I gave it a bloody good hard go. Bounky, how you going, mate? Let's get rid of this music. Hey team, how we going? You can hear the rain in the background. You can see the bush hats on me scone. You know, and I think it's time. I don't do this because of our younger viewers. Jay Hayes, all the way from Western Australia. Not cerebral palsy. I'm going to crack a beer for you tonight. The reason is, g'day Daz, I see you there. The reason is a special occasion, and if Maxie Wales was here, he'd be knocking the froth off a bloody VB. Victorian Britta, also known as Vermin Broth. I've got a special one. This one's going to go out to Lauren tonight. One of them is. But this one's going to go actually to Cranky. No, not to Jay Hayes. G'day, good to have you here, Cranky. Lauren Ryanopoulos, Kale, the beer from up here. Billy Crash, great to have you here, and thank you for your videos, especially those on the Red State. They're very interesting indeed. This one's going to go out to Spartan Mouth. Bit of a change up, team. Rather than just an image in the background, something a little bit more pleasing for you. Something good for the eye. What's tonight about? Tonight is Vietnam Veterans Day. They are the veterans that have had the least amount of respect granted to them when they came home, had their unions against them. You see down the bottom Maxie Wales, he was killed. He went to school with my mum. And my dad was in another school, crashed a tree perving on my mum. But Maxie Wales was at the Battle of Long Tan, which is also today, the 18th of August, 1966 was when it occurred. Maxie Wales was in the lead platoon of the 6th Battalion, Delta Company, okay, when they got hit, right, by a massive force of North Vietnamese, maybe some Chinese thrown in there as well, who were moving through the rubber plantation to prepare for a nighttime attack on Nui Dat, the Australian fire base. The attack happened in the Toi province. Sounds like spitting, doesn't it? But anyway, tonight I'm going to crack a beer for the veterans for those that gave their lives. You saw it on the front. 521 gave their lives between 1962 and 1975. VCs were granted during this conflict. 521 lost their lives. 3,000 wounded from 60,000 who went over and represented Australia. Bam. For the adventure and for the freedom of people of colour from a foreign country. So never tell us we're a racist nation or I'll jam that beer right where the anaesthetic can't help you. We need to stop making this country and other countries feel like they're racist when they're not. If someone doesn't know your name, then he's got to point out something about you. You know? Righto. Team, I hope you're ready for a good night. I'm going to have a couple of these beers. That one actually tasted good when it hits your lips. It's so nice. Rhinopolis, Jay Hayes, Cale Chiswick. The beer from up here. Hey, Kaz, sorry I'm late. You're not late. We've only just got going. Billy Crass says, hi, Kaz. Love your recent recruiting video that came out this morning. Mud, blood and beer at the mess, lest we forget they were only 19. And I wish I could put that song on, but because of copyright, they'd strike it down like that. We're looking back in history today, which means we really should be looking at something similar to, maybe not that far back, but what do you reckon about that one, Lauren? You're a big fan in ancient history as well. Declan, grandfather served in Vietnam, massive hero of mine. Declan, my father, served in Vietnam, and he is my mentor. He is the reason why he got it on with mum just to make sure I was born on Anzac Day, and that's what happened. And my daughter, to make sure my daughter was born on Remembrance Day. Anzac Day, she's on Remembrance Day. Fantastic. Last one here. We're going to throw this one out, and this is going to go to, this one's for Lauren. And there you go. For special occasions for the ladies, there's the love hearts. Right. So what we might do, that one's a little bit over the top, unless you're navy. We might go back to the beautiful blue. But you let me know which one you want out of those three. And we're going to look again later on about the sheepdog, okay? And also the wolf and the sheep. So you understand that although war sucks, and no one should think war sucks more than what soldiers do, who go overseas, whether it be chopper, whether it be by plane, whether it be, okay, by ship or any other novelty, you never know what's going to happen. You're in uncharted territory. No one can tell you what's a big trip, what's a small trip, what's a police action, what's a war. Because I tell you what, if you cop one in the grill, it might as well be the same thing. Wrapped in cloth, coming home to a crying family. Now, Cecil is the brother of Maxie Wales, who was killed in 1966 at the Battle of Long Tan. And his mother and himself have been going every Anzac Day and marching in Moree, where he comes from. Okay, and in 2019, there was a memorial for Maxie Wales in Moree. And I really feel like a kinship for this guy, Maxie Wales. We've got to have one name of the 521 that lost their lives, not to mention those of the North Vietnamese who were fighting under the command of others for a different ideology, communism. But we went there to the plight of the South Vietnamese. We answered the call. Come over here, Australia! And we did. We bled for them. And now when we go there, okay, we're respected. And we respect them in return. And their kids are beautiful. They taste like chicken. You know, so mucho respecto to all of those that we go to help when there's a bump in the night. Because that's what the sheepdog does. He goes out when others will not. It doesn't mean he has to believe in the mission. It doesn't mean he wants to go and get in a stoush, because normally we're the ones that come off worse. But we're not going to walk past something, because that's what defines us. What we do in a pinch. And Australians are known as the can-do nation, and we don't back down. We don't walk backwards. At the Battle of Long Tan, we won against a superior numerical force when the odds were stacked against us, and they died facing the enemy. At the time. Enemy now, not so much. That's why war sucks. Okay, JC, sorry he's late. It's okay, JC. We're going to crack a beer. It's Vietnam Veterans Day, which is exactly the same day as Long Tan Day, when those 17 souls of the 6th Battalion, Delta Company, lost their lives facing the threat so that they could save the fire base at Nui Dat. Phoc Toi province. That's where it happened. Someone's got to go to these Vietnam countries and start to spell nicknames for places so they're easier to remember. Buckaroony would probably agree. Boonies and nostalgic. This was my patrol hat. Love it. You know, I shouldn't have it on my head. It's scratched everywhere on my body. Tinia, use your hat. Pick up your noodles with the same hat. Jock right? Same hat. Dan, sorry, Daz. First beer's on me. Not too cow. Thanks, mate. Good on you, Cobber. I've grown up my whole life with my father's boots in the cupboard, not the closet. That's different. You don't want to go in the closet every day because then you've got to come out. Then my own boots took the place. All right. So it's very important to me. Your mission is very important to me. We don't join to hurt people. We join for the big adventure. We join to have a different life. We join to live our life, to collect skills that you can't get anywhere else. To say for at least 4 years that you've represented your country, just like an Olympian, come back with a medal after 4 years, your term of service. Which one's more valuable, an Olympic medal or a service medal? Don't know. You could probably argue that. Why not? Why would you argue it? They're both beautiful. I'm surprised the VC wasn't given for Long Tan. I think the officers' faces were in the mud just like everyone else's because it takes an officer to be able to view the events that allow a VC to occur. Otherwise, we'd all have one and sell them and then get on the piss with what they're worth. Dylan, Harry Smith wrote a book about the battle. I've read it multiple times and it recounts the battle and the aftermath. To tell you the truth, we had our arse saved. Not me. Okay, 6-hour Delta Company had their arse saved, by the Cav, by the artillery. That was a true combined arms gunfight. And you've got to remember, those that ran into the 2,000 Vietnamese as it was pouring down rain and heading towards night time, first line ammunition that they patrolled with was 60 rounds. 60. Only 60. You could get rid of those in 1 minute if you felt like you were in that much of a dire strait. Now we carry how many? Let me know in comments. How many rounds are carried by a modern gunfighter, infantry 343, in today's patrols on operational deployment? Let me know. Let's see if you get it right. Proto. Boom. Nutsu cow to you, mate. Did him out from the village. Police application denied today after 12 months. Shit. Proto, sorry, mate. Time to try and re-enlist in the ADF. Thank you for the tribute to the very important day, Kaz. Hope you're well, team. I'm really sorry for the bad news there, mate. I really am. Drew, 800? No, mate. No, that's the gun is 800, and you're right there. So F89, okay, Mag 58, Maximite, yes. Proto, can we get some thumbs up there just to show some respect to Proto and him going for the government roles to try and just represent his country in one way, in one uniform, one way or another. I'm sorry about your news, mate, and thank you for the donate. You keep those to yourself, mate. Okay, JC, a service medal is more important than an Olympic or Commonwealth Games medal. What if you do both? Drewy says, okay, JC, 8 mags of 30. No, 7. 7 mags of 30, 210 rounds is what we carry. You might have carried 8. You might have carried a spare. And depending on where you go, especially for United Nations, they will actually do ammunition checks to make sure that you have every single one of those rounds. Just so you're not doing anything naughty outside the wire. Now, I'm going to get rid of the hat for a second. 2 seconds, Ted. Go back to me blonde hair, just so I can tease all of those that are nearly 50 as well, that are as bald as bloody Uncle Fester. Brody, damn, that's unlucky, Proto. It is. Oh, I cannot stand it when I get bad news from you guys. It kills me. Dusty Rhodes, g'day, Proto. Good to see you, mate. I hope your evening is going well. Yeah. Dusty Rhodes, I said before, I've got a great comment from you today, and I'll cover that in a minute. Jay Hayes, cow counts too. Thanks, man. Let's not hope it doesn't get past 10. Otherwise, we might have to take our shoes off. Chloe, 2 hands white. Racist hands right there. BRD. When you re-enlist, do you have to do basic training again? No or yes. It depends, BRD, on how long was the period in between you reserving. Yep. If it's over 4 years, probably do. But it depends on how long the first stint is as well. If you'd only done the 4 year, or you'd done less than your 4 year commitment, or you did the female 2 year commitment, then you would definitely have to do it again if it was probably the time that you were out was as great as what the time you had served. Because different weapons, okay, different techniques and procedures, etc., technological differences, uniform changes, yeah. Case by case, mate, I'd say. Hard yakka, don't sweat it, bud. That's it. As the door closes, another door will open. And if you keep pushing them open, you eventually get a yes. And that's the way I treated my love life. Declan, 3 hands. Don't tell me there's a sailor behind you. One's on the shoulder. Daz has got a bloody gangbang happening in his house. Aaron Hazelton, there we go. Jay Hayes, both my thumbs are up. If you came from Tasmania, would see 4. Dewey HG, see, all of this is going out to Proto. For those that just came on, he just got some bad news about signing on for the police force. But, you'll be right, mate. Kane, not too cow. Kane's also had some bad news. He's got to wait out, and he's got one more crack at the cherry for the U session. I'm telling you, team, it's not as easy as people think. Don't assume you're just going to get in. You've got to do the homework. You've got to do the fitness work. You've got to do the research to get the entire holistic approach for success, warrior mindset. Because sometimes I think they ask too much of you intellectually. I do. Volunteering can be enough sometimes. Jack Cave, is it worth becoming an officer in the ADF? Well, Jack, what would we be like if we didn't have the corporate level doing their job? I think we could get some better officers. I think if they're going to have the professional arrogance that some of them have, they can have professional, what would we call it? Stones, courage when it comes to making hard decisions. Like, let's stop this equal opportunity of outcome that's starting to happen in this army. We need to F that off straight up. You earn everything you get. You have a physical test that you must pass at Kapuka. You have a physical test that you must pass at School of Infantry. You have one at the School of Engineers. You have one at Artillery. You should have one at Medics. If you don't have those tests, then how would you expect people to appreciate what they have? And I expect the same from officers. If they don't see it, they should create it. If they don't create it, get rid of them and replace them. Spartan Mouth, 3 thumbs. Aaron Croft, g'day Cobber. Hope you're well. I am. We got accidentally sorted out the problem with the microphone. Ed B's got it. He's here. He's got to run. He doesn't mean that literally, team. He doesn't run anymore. Got 3 rods in the water. Hey, Kaz, tell Kaz, hey from me. Ed B's 11 Bravo. He's American infantry. At the moment, he's in a kayak in Tennessee, in the USA, the land of COVID, out there with his buddy Dennis, who is now as single as an ice cream cone, having a ball. Any sailors, please apply. How we going, team? Any members tonight? Lauren is shining. My heart longs to stand on that wet coast again. My home state. Hashtag West Side. JR79MC. Hey, Kaz, how are we, mate? I'm good, mate. I'm good. Today was a bit frantic. I got a video out already today, but my dad's a Vietnam veteran, lost a family friend, Maxie Wales. There was no way I wasn't going to jump back on here tonight and do that some justice, because after all, who were the forgotten warriors of our past? It was Vietnam, and it was definitely Korea as well, and Malaysia probably even more so. The time that the guys, g'day Lawson, how you going, mate? And Billy would know about this one when I'm about to talk about, team. Just go a little bit gentle there unless you're talking with each other. Is you've got to remember the times that people joined to go to Vietnam, why there was so much contention was because there'd never been 20 years in between the big fights in this century. We started with the Boer War, then we rolled into WW1, the war to end all wars, okay, the Great War, followed 20 years later by World War II, the DOS. Following that by Korea only a few years later, Malaysia, Vietnam, and then it just didn't stop. But if you were in Vietnam and you were around that age where it was ready to serve, you got to remember that everyone you knew but still come from World War One, World War Two. It was a tough time to be a boy, I tell you right now. I wasn't there. But there would have been a social imprint, a social responsibility to stand up and say, this is your go. And if your dad had ticker, and so did your grandfather, then they either served, or they'd nearly served, or they couldn't serve because of a medical dilemma. And that happened then. Remember that. When you see Proto who doesn't get into the thin blue line, God bless you, looking after us domestically, you've got to remember that happened also back in 1918, 1914. It happened in 1942. Now, it's not an uncommon thing. And some people, the saddest tragedy of all, had received white feathers from females to say they were cowards because they thought they were the men that hadn't gone to serve while their family and friends had. So imagine being cowardly called a traitor by someone who snuck white feathers into envelopes and sent them to your house in the dead of night. But it used to happen. Did you know about that? Mackay has some awesome thunder and lightning storms. It does, Jay. It's a beautiful place up there where the tropics, drive a relationship crazy. Are a maximum ingredient for divorce, but also, they've got some lovely times. I used to love getting wet up in Townsville in those tropical storms where the water is beautiful and warm. Lauren, Grid is here. Brycey, stand down, men. Your duty's done lest we forget. It is. 17 lost their lives at Long Tan. Okay. But 521 lost their lives, okay, at Vietnam between 1962 and 1975. My dad served in 67, 68. A bit of both, I think. I think he went over Christmas. But 3,000 were wounded. But none of that mentions, out of the 60,000 that served, how many were mentally wounded, how many came back with scars. The trials and tribulations of coming from such a difficult time, being the protege of their veteran forefathers, having the pressure to go to Vietnam, only to be in a tropical environment, getting sick, your body breaking down, and then knowing that Australia hasn't got your back, and people at the unions even refuse to put your food on a boat, because they don't agree with the effort, or they're going out with a beautiful girl that leans to the left that says no to a sex life unless they treat you like shit. Bailey's hat. I've been looking for that hat. A member. The stream is complete. Thank you very much. When you become a member, in case you don't know, team, Bailey, Nutsu Cow, just so you are aware, you now get every video that I put out an hour earlier than what everyone else does, which allows you to get your questions in first at the top. It's a good way to go. Plus, you'll see yourself get promoted in another 30 days. But it'll be too late for you because you're already outranked by the Lance Corporals, who will be full corporals by then. That's okay. Mr. Bryce, wet in the Ville. Yep. It sounds like there's nothing worse than going outfield in summer in Townsville. You know you're getting a bath when you go up on the bloody on the high range plateaus. Attaboy. Hey, Lauren, Spanner crew team. That's right. Simon Powell, our Raffy's here. G'day, mate. Nordsukow. Good to have the boy in blue. I'm going fine, thank you, Ivan. Ivan's here. Where is he? Ivan, how are you, mate? Our favourite Rusky. The creator of the drink that doesn't stink. The first dates cure. Yeah, can we get some thumbs up for Bailey's hat? It's great to have a new member here. You're very welcome. You're part of the crew. You know, one day when there's 1 billion of us, it'll be funny. I wish I could join so I could be in there and have my rank coming up. Daz, welcome the great unwashed one. I love the saying. JC, I went to a job once at work, police officer here, and the aggressor was mentioned in dispatches in Vietnam. I thanked the bloke and left. I shook his hand and he was so honoured to be in his presence. JC, I wish we could have one of those conversations, but we can't because of political correctness, where you could jump on and represent police force and actually have that discussion about mental health as opposed to inappropriate behaviour, how you'd respond to that, because the USA is going through a real drama with that. But at the same time, what we can't have you do is put yourself in harm's way, assuming that someone is also of sound mind and then responds the way you would because you gave them the respect. Better to treat them, with kid gloves and caution first. But cheers for that, mate. That's a great yarn. We've spoken to JC. For everyone that is not in the know about the COVID marathon stream to raise money for a family in need that I'm not allowed to know, so that I can get along with some other YouTubers and do a marathon stream all day where their where their account, their PayPal account, where we can make micro donations to them. You can do $1 or $2. I'm going to put 500 in. Bucko's going to put 500 in, and we're going to try and grab a family and bring them back off the brink of despair. So this is the channel that does that for others, and I want you to be part of something like that, where it costs you $1, whether it costs you $2. Invite all your friends. Tell them not to be a mug. This is their way to represent themselves, their family in Australia, and give $1 or $2 up to a family that makes them realise that we are the lucky country. We think of others before we think of ourselves, and there is people right now who are out in position, waiting beside phones, waiting in cars, waiting in army bases, waiting in uniforms for the time the glass breaks with your name written on it, despite the fact they've never heard it. Okay? We're a great country. Stoddy's back. Medic. Declan. I had my U session in a week. Medical was perfect today. Fitness is right up at the moment, so hopefully I can make it and follow the Anzacs. I hope you do, Declan. I want you all to be successful. Just by being here, you're showing us that you're doing the extra yards to find out the research, the passive information, so you can be the better version of yourself. And when you go to recruiting, that they can hear in your voice, you know what you're talking about, you know what you want. And that's a fitting time to play this video again, because this is the reason why people lose their lives. We don't expect to go in a footy game and not lose some skin off our bloody knees. So this is another reason why we serve.
But back to sheep, wolves, and sheepdogs. How many of you guys have seen the movie American Sniper?
I know some of you have seen this.
Okay, at the beginning, the flashback scene where he's sitting at the table, like they start talking about that. Well, that all comes from the book On Combat by Colonel Grossman, who's an Army Ranger, and he was also the psychology professor at West Point. So, smart dude and a badass. Pretty awesome. I'd highly recommend reading that book, because when you start trying to think about crime and bad things and you're trying to look at it through your own filter and your own perspective, that's the incorrect filter. So this really helps you. It's like required reading to all my cop buddies and stuff like that. They're like, this is the book, you have to buy it, but it comes from there. And it says there's 3 types of people in the world. There's sheep, which are everyday citizens, let's say 80% of them, of the human population's sheep. These are just everyday people. They just like going around there with their life, and they don't like to think about bad things or anything like that. 10% of the population's wolves. Those are the bad guys. They're the ones who eat the sheep. They're the ones who come and look for victims. So they're the criminals, they're the murderers, they're all that. Sheepdog. Sheepdogs are the protectors. They protect the flock. Like one sheepdog can keep the whole flock safe. But sheep, they don't really like sheepdogs, because they kind of look like a wolf, don't they? Like a wolf, dog, sheepdog, fangs. They kind of move, look the same way. When wolves aren't around for a long time, the sheep actually start resenting the sheepdog. And they're like, you know what? We'd rather just you put on a sheep coat and just pretend to be like this. Like, it just reminds them that there's wolves out there. You're paranoid. Like, why do you have to think about that kind of stuff? So that's how they think until a wolf comes. Then guess what? They all cower behind the sheepdog. So after 9/11, and they talk about this on Combat, you can actually Google sheepdog Bravo PUA, and it pulls up a link on my forum where it has the whole passage from the book. And if you just read that, that's good, but I'd recommend reading the whole thing. But it talks about how after like the Columbine shooting, like the kids that like jumped on the cops and were holding on to them, they had to pry them off afterwards because these are the ones that are going to keep people safe. So when you start getting into that mindset and you're like, all right, there's wolves out there. Am I going to be a sheep or a sheepdog? Now the problem is, like, I have no problem if people are sheep. That's fine. But for some reason, sheep have a problem with people being sheepdog. So that's where the issue comes. So I'm not telling you guys to be sheepdogs, but you should at least, like I said earlier, learn how to protect yourself and your loved ones. So we'll get more into that.
Okay, Tim. It is important that we play that every now and then so you understand, clarify what you are in the pack. You know, that's what it's about. Okay? And a lot of sheepdogs is a little bit of wolf too. We've got some questions there. We've got Billy Krask that's talking about Donald Trump is closing on Biden's latest polls. I'm going to quickly give you what I believe is going to happen. We've got Kamala Harris. Okay, I understand now the CNN is listening. Kamala Harris, is going to be the VP. I don't believe that Biden is actually going to go for the presidency. I believe what's going to happen the last minute is going to be a Bradbury. Australians know about that. Where all of a sudden Biden's going to be pushed to the side. They might even use the 19 as an excuse, and they're going to push up a second female candidate. There's a few I think of. Elizabeth Warren. There's also Hillary Clinton, and there's also Michelle Obama. Any one of those three. And Michelle Obama's talking today. She's copping a lot of flack because she did a pre-recorded rather than turn up and speak from a podium. So we'll see what's going to happen and interesting things. Also, I'd like to, while we're talking about the remembering Vietnam, I'd also like to say to everyone, whether you're angry at them or not, then let's put our hand on our hearts a little bit and really take some time to feel for China with the Three Gorge Dam situation at the moment where it's imminent that their dam could break. And if it does, I believe more than 300 million people could be affected really badly. Okay, at the moment, they believe famine is also starting to fall into the place in China as well, where they're being told that if you have 10 people in your family, start cooking for 9. What they mean by that is you don't need a full plate. Put less on there. Stop wasting food. And one of the famous sayings from Mao Zedong that I was going to say to Lauren before we got on, because I always have an administrational preparation, okay, with my advisors, moderators where I can. Mao Zedong's famous statement was, eating is such a waste of food. That's comical. Comical. What a dickhead. I would have unscrewed his head myself. It's that guy killed millions of his own people. What a statement. There should be no banquets unless everyone's having a banquet if you come from a socialist or communist nation. Their generals are eating banquets. Their politicians are eating banquets. That's the opposite of being communist. That's the opposite of being socialist. Go figure. And we have the left in America that are trying to follow them down that road. Real mistake. Bailey Island. G'day, Delhi Saw. We also had someone ask before, Kamala the Chameleon heels up Harris. Not a fan at all. I think she's full of shit. I've been tracking her for years now. I'd say yes to her on an off-pay week, just for a workout, but that's about it. Someone was asking about commandos before. What do I think about, is there units that do paratrooping, look at that, half a beer and I'm done, that do paratroopers. Okay, it's commandos in SASR. That's it. Oh, there's some engineers, there's some SIGs, etc., those that support the effort. But other than that, what we don't need is conventional warfighters. Okay, again, having fast descent chutes because the rub is just not worth it. More injuries from jumping in training because we train for realism. And the amount of soldiers that ended careers for either lower back injuries, lower limb injuries, or severe catastrophic breaks, it's just not worth it. It sounds cool. You've seen Band of Brothers. I get it. But they're not they're low altitude, fast descent shoots. You don't want to be in one. The beret look cool, but what's the process for a soldier to transfer to officer? Normally, it'll happen once you get to sergeant or above. And even then, it has to be sort of recommended. Sometimes it can happen at private, but if you do it at private to section commander, you're going to get sent back to RMC and do the whole 18 months. Yep. If you get to sergeant and above, then what you can do is you can slip over and you can become a first year captain. Right? The legs are all right. PT is awesome. Heath, are you in training at the moment, are we? Heath Fraser, what's Singleton accommodation like? It's fantastic. You don't get a TV in your room unless you buy one, mate. But remember, whatever you get, PK, okay, whatever you get, you have to carry with you. You can't just diddy-mow it out of the village with you. You basically go in there with a bag and a trunk and you pack, and that's what you're going to leave with. And you won't get a chance to go and buy stuff anyway. Normally people have an iPad. Ryan Ward, g'day buddy, how you going? Good to have you here. Thanks for your service, mate. JR79, MC, summer's hitting hard, mate. I'm just losing the gift of speech, mate, but I tell you what, I feel bloody good. It's been so long. Giving up drinking might be one of the most responsible things you do when you've got mental health injuries, when you've got when you're sick, when you've got children that you might not want to expose to that. But I tell you what, it makes you goddamn boring, light on the fizz, so to speak. Yeah. Hey, Mitchy Race, how you going, mate? Mutsu Cow, what did we say to deserve that generous donation from you, mate? Is there a question that we can answer? Please let us know. Kempy Thorne, Dylan Casey. That was a question, my question. Thanks, Kaz. Okay, no worries. Top 10 clips. Hey, Kaz, is it bad to do 600 push-ups each day? Yes, because I've been doing this for months and not seeing as much progression as I should be. This is the deal. Okay, this is the deal. Guys, hold off for a sec. Top 10 clips. When you do push-ups, you've got to remember one or two things. There's 3 ways of training. Okay, you can go for strength, you can go for hypertrophy, bodybuilding, making the V, the corn chip, turning it up the opposite way of the average Australian, broad shoulders, thin hips. And then what there is endurance. What you're doing is mostly working on endurance. Do not listen to these videos on YouTube that show someone who looks a little bit chunky, thick, so to speak, maybe fat, and then it shows them 30 days later from doing 100 push-ups a day and they're built like Atlas. That's bullshit. That's fake news. That's CNN. Channel 7, Channel 9, Channel 10 thrown in. The project, the worst. What it's doing is it's making you highly capable. But what it's also doing is putting untold amounts of stress on your body. That's why I only do 100 a day, sometimes 200 in a day. That's great for endurance. That's great for you being able to build up that muscular endurance. It's going to give you some trade-off with the hypertrophy. It's going to burn fat, etc. But it's going to plateau you. Now what I'd do is I'd change to that and I'd go to things like bench press with 40 kilos on there, which makes it 60 kilos with an Olympic bar, and go for as many reps as you can, except this time laying on your back, because that's going to work your chest. You can go close grip, far grip, do swimming, which is fantastic for the back, do dips, which is the best exercise of all, because it works the triceps, okay? The anterior is the front, which is the front of your body. Australians work too much of that. Posterior is the back. The rear, okay, of your triceps, and that'll make 2/3 the size of your arm. That's going to rip those $7 t-shirts that you wear, and that's what gets the girls and the policemen realise they're playing with an axe when they grab you on your arm and say, "Come this way, son." Nicholas Fenton, anybody on here tonight that are leaving for Kapuka next Tuesday? Hey, Fenno, remember, guys, the video that I put out today, that is the video you need to go to and put in comments what your date is to go on the list. Let's quickly read that out before I get back into your questions there. Action Jackson, there he is. I was going to put your picture up today, just like I was going to put Daz's picture up, but it just wasn't appropriate for the Vietnam era. And then with only minutes to go and went overtime, I put some moving graphics in the background. So I'll respect both of yours on the next stream. Sorry, mate. So the next one is August the 24th is the intake there. And we've got Beck is going in, or Beck in New Zealand. You know, spoke too soon about COVID, aren't they? Now they're struggling. Okay, Zed Scotty, and I hope they do okay. Zed Scotty is going into engineers. Then we've got Kenny Bacon. He brought dance to that town, Footloose. Or is it Beacon? I can't see from here. We've got Zach. We've got Jack Italiano. Jake Italiano. Sounds like a great pizza. And that's it for August. So make sure that you get in the video that we put out today before this one exactly when you're going in, so we can put you on the list, and then we'll give you the proper respect when it's time for you to get out of here. Long time listeners, first time on the live chat. Great to have you here, Jack. Jick. Albert Jacker. Luke, he leaves on the 24th as well. Angus, hey Casa team, just want to say thanks for the help. I received my letter of offer to go to ADFA the other day, and it's been a massive help listening to you and advice that you give. Angus, can you do me a favour, mate? I want to give you my phone number, but it's easier, honestly, if you go on to Patreon, become a member at least for 1 month, so you can get on there, you can get my, the Bat phone number, because what I really need to do is have a talk with you so we can set your mind at ease, and that goes for anyone. If you go onto the Bat phone, Patreon, and you even stay on there for a month, that's $5 all right? And then you can get off and you're still on the Bat phone, that's fine. But because I can't just start putting my phone number up like I did on the previous channel, and it just goes insane. Hard Yakka, what was your diet like when training for Army? Not too cow. It was hot chips, cola, not Coca-Cola, cherry ripes, and they'll barbecue CCs at that, and basically just eating shit. All I did was go to the beach twice a day. You know, when I wasn't doing that, I was going for runs. When I wasn't doing that, I was doing chin-ups. Yep. I've never had a good diet. Dusty Rhodes, picks or did it happen, JC? I'm not sure what's going on there. Jay Hayes, lots of love. JC has his Geoduck out. I'm not sure what that was in. Thanks for the advice in the trenches with Kaz. I was also wondering that I'm 15 and hate school with a passion. It's a good idea to do infantry, then commando, then possibly police. Thanks. Sounds good. Infantry, then commandos, then cops. That's a natural progression. That's the way you do it. Or you can go for infantry, then get out, go to police, and then go to one commando, which is Army Reserve. So there's 2 avenues for you there. I don't care if you don't like school, mate. I don't care. Most people don't like school. But what you need to do is show through that adversity, treat it like a mission, ignore the beautiful girl in the front row because she won't be there when you're 40, and show the Army that you can commit to something that you don't like. Because if you don't have the maturity to that, they might tell you, come back in another year, or come back when you've done tertiary education beyond schooling, and that's going to piss you off even more, okay? So please take it seriously, your schooling. You need to do it. I know at the moment that, your body's telling you, get out, sow your seed, make the money, serve the nation, work in the fields, get a job, spend some money, fast, drink mead, eat a yak's tail. But this is not your time yet. You're still in the trenches. So keep digging, son. You'll be all right. Maxie Wales lost his life, but he'd tell you the same thing. I love the monkey shoulder. Delicious. That sounds horrible. I don't know what's going on there. Proto, JC watching stream Spread Eagle. I rarely wear pants myself. I tell you what. Hands of colour there from Nicholas Fenton. Okay, hands of colour. We've got Kamala Harris there, but not that one's a little bit darker than her. I can't believe she's getting into shit for not being dark enough. Hey, Jay, how's the cattle rustling? I don't know what's going on there. Mr. Anderson, at least finish year 10 with a pass. Yeah, exactly what Delhi Saw said. You need to finish what you've started, mate. We all had to do it. It's a repercussion of going to school, which is also compulsory. Cameron Peter, that's what you was told when I was 18. Go for officers, come back when you mature. But Cam Peter, isn't it a cop out? Come back when you mature. Does that mean you walk out the door, then come back with your eyebrow? Wait a sec. How about now? How do you come back when you mature? Yeah, right. I vouch for myself. I'm mature. It's bullshit. What they do is they say that because they often don't want to give you the reason themselves why they actually don't want you to come through the door with a successful pass. Sometimes I think it's when people are fat. Sometimes it's when people are unfit. Sometimes it's when people are a little bit, a little bit short of a couple of sandwiches. And what they don't want to do is tell you the truth. So what they do is handball you off knowing that they're going to be out of there at the end of the year. That's what I reckon's happening. Kempy Thorne, Kaz, would only completing year 11 hamper my chance to join the ADF? Well, Kemp, no. But are you at school at the moment? Because what I'd say is you're in a very precarious situation. Don't leave school. Don't leave a job, until you actually have a date to go into the military, police force, fire brigade, nursing, etc. Because at the moment there is a line as long as China, to go into all of these roles. So the last thing you want to do is put yourself in a position where you get out prematurely and then potentially get knocked back because of something that you didn't know existed, right, in your back play. So make a serious decision. Right, don't leave anything until you're about to get on the bus because a lot can go wrong, and you can ask Dave D about that. Cleve Creaney. Sorry, mate, I butchered that. Hey, mate, got my enlistment on the 14th of September. You beauty. Cleve Creaney, make sure that you are you already on the list, aren't you? What date was that? He's gone already. These guys are throwing the comments out tonight. Well, make sure anyone that's got a date, you need to go in the video that came out this morning, okay? And then what will happen is I will put those and update this and make a neater list tomorrow, right? So it can pay respect, and we will do the preparing for 24 platoon, okay, this weekend. Delisor, yeah, I stuffed around year 10, so did I, and never tried. Now I have to do maths and English TAFE course. I know, Deli, it sucks, bro, but that's what happens. Para JC, that's an unreal work history, life of adventure. Put down here, if you can, guys and girls, Robbie Kent, the master of hounds. He's here. Laura, not too good. I can't seem to get a break. First week back at work, I got sick. Went to the doctors, had the dreaded test, isolated until cleared, end up in hospital, got released today. When it rains, it pours for you, my friend. Tammin, 14th of September. Isn't there also an intake on the 7th? Yeah, there is, I believe. Yes, there is. Because we've got Buffer, who's going to artillery, and we've got Mick, who's going to admin at the same time. I reckon if I had given myself a puncher's chance, I'd say that I failed year 12 as well. But in actual fact, I got the pass. I don't know how. I never got the girl either. 14th September, is there also an intake? So 14th, Tammin. Yeah, there is. You've got Sprung. You've got some Aussie going in at the same time as you as well. You've got Snowy going in there as well. So there's at least 3. Mitchy Race. Not too cow. Thank you very much for that, mate. Where's your question, mate, Mitch? It's a cool name. It's pronounced Much if you go to New Zealand. Okay, the land of the big white cloud. Thank you very much, sir. Hard Yakka, Luke, Spuddy Sims. Hi, Kaz, a bit off topic, but what do the Chocks get up to on Anzac Day? They'll do ceremonies in their local areas, and they get to actually volunteer for those too, mate. Do they march with the regular army, or do they have particular roles? The regular army, quite often, it'll march as major units. The Army Reserve do get the option to march, but not normally as units. It's just as a depot. They'll go and represent. Yeah. Proto's out of here, is he? Mr. Anderson, good to hear. What I was going to say before, team, is what was your girlfriend or your dream girl or dream boy's name that got away in high school? I had a couple. There was Alison Kadlov. There was Fiona Panis. And there was, what's her name? Jeez, I used to love this girl. I'll get to you. But it's funny when you actually, at 20, 30 years on, where you get to go and check out the people that you had the crush on. Melanie Went was the one that really got away. Ugh. I still think of her name like, yep. But it's great to have crushes that you never actually get to close a deal with. It's fantastic. JC, I'll shoot you a text, let you know when you're free for a call. I'll give you a buzz soon. Thanks again. Proto. Okay, to JC, yep. Who's your adjutant? Okay. Is there anything we can do to do, Rob? Please reach out. We reached out to Rob. At one stage, we were going to make Robbie Kent the recipient for the marathon. Did you realise that, Rob, that's why I rang you? To see if you were going to be the recipient for the PayPal marathon multi-YouTube stream assistance package? But he said no, it's fine. He said he was doing okay. Did you know South Dakota in the USA, conservative, Republican, not Democrat, actually rejected their stimulus packages because they said we will look after our own people? Thank you very much, Mr. President. What a well-led state where your whole state says we do so well, our people work so hard, our people are so proud that we'll pay them out of our own money so that we're not a liability to the country like New York is, like California is, like Los Angeles, etc. That's awesome. That's leadership right there. And it's not that he's denying his people of that. He's helping them from the money that they had probably from speeding tickets. Yeah, that's beautiful. I was really impressed with that. Does anyone know if AGs get deployed more than infantry? Look, Aiden, there is no comparison between AGs and infantry. An AGI going to Qantas is him being deployed. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but their job is to protect a rectangle around an airport to keep out trespassers, etc. Right? Local security, deny people access or deter people from being dicks. Right? That's all it is. We seize it, then we give it to them. Infantry gives it to them once it's safe. All right? They don't seize it. And then once we think that they can do the job, then we move out and go and do our job. Yep. Their main threat is special forces. And if they get entangled with special forces, they're only going to know that because they've got a few KIA. And we don't want that. Don't ever compare AGs and infantry. Completely different. Okay, and if you don't believe me, if you think that I'm just being a bit nasty there, go and read the roles of the AGI and then read the roles of infantry. Infantry is to seek out, which means leave the wire, which means create the forward line, the FEBA, the forward edge battle area, which is forward of the boot of the bayonet of the infantry foxhound soldier, to seek out and close the enemy, to kill or catch him, to seize and hold ground, or repel attack by day and night, regardless of season, weather, or terrain. What does the AGI do? He sits there, eats steaks, drinks Coke, does pickets. That's it. Do people get turned away on enlistment day much? Not on enlistment day. Luke, no. On enlistment day, you're in. That's it. You will spend the night, normally at the Mantra, at a hotel with all of those that are actually going in there. Then your family will come in the next day. And what occurs is you'll come in, hand up, oath or affirmation, boom, 10 minutes with your family, get a photo, kiss them goodbye. You're not even a civilian anymore because you're starting to get paid as soon as you put your hand up. Then onto that bus, goodbye, where the members of the military that were pretending to be your friend suddenly put on the wolf's face once you get on the bus. Yep. Lauren, I hate autocorrected with a special passion. It gets me in the shit all the time. Mr. P, here he is. Started it may have a virus. Not sure. Robbie Kent, Kaz, there are people out there that need the help more than me, but I do appreciate the gesture. I just wanted you to know, Rob, that you were the guy that was in my sights coming down on you. So it was going to be you, dude. You could have spent it on a dog. Cleve, I like that name. Sent off EPAC a week ago for NV2 clearance. Hope all goes smoothly. I hope it does too. I don't even know what NV2 is. I can't spell rock. I can't spell tree. That's why I'm listed as an Aggie. It's all right, JC. The reason why sometimes I've got to come across as being a little bit nasty is because I don't want people to think or get confused that things are similar when they're absolutely not. I don't want you... It's like marriage sometimes. It can look like a glossy catalogue, but if both people don't buy the timeshare, right, it's going to be a horrible experience. If you get it right, you're laughing. You know, sometimes it's just a cover and there's no sheets within. Mitchy Stott, I mean, bear put. Is that New Zealand for bear pit? Doesn't even make any sense. Mr. Anderson, so wouldn't being an Aggie be great for an older bloke with family? Absolutely. That'd be a fantastic thing to do, Mr. Anderson. Also, we are part of the military complex that is connected to the USA at the moment, who are a peacetime army, who are looking after domestic affairs, who are not looking to project their strength beyond necessity if the glass is probably smashed by someone else. Right? There's a few rattling of sabres happening, but if you look what's happening within the RED nation, then you will know that they have more trouble, okay, than someone who's going on the first date with the pox. You know? And it's sad. I don't wish ill on anyone. Well, I do, but not on nations, because then you're talking about fathers with children, with daughters and sons, etc. I don't want that. Hours coming up, Mr. Pete. That's fine. Pop Vinyls, here he is. Hey, bro, hope you remember me. Of course I do. About my mum being away, she finishes this Friday. Well done. Make sure you look after her, cook her some meal. The best thing you can do is learn how to cook the best garlic sauce, which I'll be doing tomorrow for my buddy who's a copper who's coming up.
Hmm.